Hello and welcome back to the Great Football Chat, where today I want to speak to you guys about Manchester United and how have they fallen from grace so far. I want to talk to you about how this has happened and what I would personally suggest to improve in the future seasons. So let's start with how this has happened. Basically, it all comes down to the management of the whole club, how the club is run entirely from top to bottom, and it's shit. Just in a single word, it's shit, and everybody knows that. Everybody constantly speaks about it. No matter what but it breaks down into several facets. Basically, first is recruitment and everything that has to go do with incoming and outgoing transfers, extending or not extending contracts, and so on. So I'll start with that one because I have a lot to say about that. Now, there have been many occasions where Manchester United have bought the wrong players, let go of the wrong players at wrong times, and extended kept the wrong players at the club for too long. So, let's start with just wrong signings. There are many glaring examples who've been flops. Yeah, you could start with people who they have in the squad now. Xerxes, Hoyland, what's his name? Mason Mount, which I have the most issues with, Mason Mount, as well as Anthony, Jadon Sancho, and so on and so forth. There are too many to list at this point. But there are a few of them I really want to focus in because I think some of the transfers made complete sense on the paper. Like signing Sancho made complete sense on the paper. He had magnificent seasons with Dortmund. Manchester United needed a winger, and they got him. Like everything on paper with Sancho seemed fine, right? Of course, why wouldn't you not sign Jadon Sancho, right? If you need a winger, he's the perfect candidate. He was the perfect candidate at the time. So I get it. Anthony, the price doesn't make any sense at all. He shouldn't have even cost half that. But again, kind of makes sense. You need a winger, decent winger, knows the manager, has worked with him before. Yeah, understandable. Young, potential, everything. Somewhat understandable. Price is ludicrous, right? And then you got like Mason Mount, whose signing is completely not understandable, and the price is also ludicrous. So first of all, it's not understandable because Mason Mount can and has only been effective in one position, and Manchester United have Bruno Fernandes in that position. Like, you cannot really put Mount and Fernandes into the same team. That cannot really work that well. And for that reason, he has to be a backup. Mount has to be a backup. And signing a backup for what, like fucking 70 million or whatever, is bullshit. It's just extremely bad thing to do. It doesn't make any sense. And you can't really play Mount anywhere else effectively. He can't play on the wing effectively. He can't play deeper effectively because he has absolutely no defensive skills. And he can't really play as a number 9 because he's not a finisher in any capacity at all. So he's been shit, and it's to be expected. And Chelsea didn't just let him go because they needed money. They let him go because you can't really fit that kind of a player into a good system. If you need basically, this is what it is. Mason Mount needs accommodation. He needs to be accommodated as a number 10. And if you accommodate Mount as a number 10, you are sacrificing a lot for it. You can build a better team with accommodating somebody else who is much better and be better. Like, man, they have a massive upgrade on their hands with Cole Palmer, for example, right? So Chelsea have done brilliantly. Manchester United have done poorly, and Others, there are other examples like that. Signing Xerxes or signing Hoyland, they do make a bit of sense on paper, but when you have like no fucking identity as the club at all, God, why are you even signing these, right? So that brings me to the other type of situations: not selling the players you should be selling and extending random contracts. Ashley Young, Phil Jones, Jesse Lingard. These are all the players who should have been let go from Manchester United, fucking 10 years ago. Already. So, they have been paying their wages, extending their contracts almost endlessly, and they only let, Ashley Young go when he was 35 or whatever. What is the point of keeping him around for that long? Why do you need him for? And he's not even contributing that much. He could have been decent in a couple of games, but goddamn, man, mostly he was shit. Same could be said about Jones, and the same could be said about Lingard. And each of these players have had a certain point at which they should have been let go, but they weren't, and the team has suffered for that. And these are just a few examples. There are others. All my videos keep getting longer and longer, and just want to keep it as short as I possibly can. But I know this is going to be 50 fucking minutes. So moving on. These are again, and on the flip side of this, they have let go of the wrong players at the wrong times. For example, McTominay and Lukaku, two biggest examples for me. Because, as we've seen, when Lukaku left Manchester United, he can still cut it. He can still fucking cut it, man. He won 2. He became Italian champion twice. Once with fucking Napoli recently. Have you seen this Napoli's team now? What the team is? It is they won they won the Serie A the season before last. So not this season, not the last season, the season before that, right? And that was an exciting team with Kvaratskhelia and Osimhen and Chucky Lozano, others, right? So Kim Min-jae, a brilliantly well-balanced, exciting team. You would love to watch that team. We all watch them rip apart Liverpool in the Champions League. That was extremely fun, and they were extremely exciting players. But now, at this very moment, Osimhen's gone, Kvaratskhelia gone, Kim Min-jae's gone, and it's reduced to basically bare bones. And people like Pasquale Mazzocchi and whoever else, Leonardo Spinazzola, are trying to pull the weight. And they have pulled the weight till the very end. In major contribution in that was made by Scott McTominay and Romelu Lukaku. I want to talk about these two players extensively because they represent the very problem Manchester United have with letting go of the wrong players at wrong times. These players have been so good this season. They basically dragged a completely mediocre team to win the Serie A. It's not the best Serie A. They finished on 82 points or something. So, yeah, it's not the best. But they've won it. And they've done it by both of them scored in the decisive last game of the season. And both of them scored outstanding goals. Scott McTominay arriving in the box, scoring not overhead scissor kick, whatever. Brilliant. Lukaku bullying a defender in the middle of the park, taking the ball, getting past another man, and finishing. Amazing. Again, prime Romelu Lukaku. And these two players have been let go from Manchester United. How are you justifying that? How do you justify letting go of Scott McTominay and keeping Phil Jones and keeping Jesse Lingard? How do you justify that? Or is it that you have learned the lesson now and you have decided to sell your best or second best player in McTominay. And since they've sold Lukaku, they haven't been able to replace him properly. Yeah, Ronaldo came in, but if you want to maximize the talents of this current Cristiano Ronaldo, you need to build a complete team behind him that would be laser focused on giving him opportunities, which he will then convert because he's still a great finisher. They had Cavani, but they had like Cavani and Ronaldo at the same time, so it kind of didn't work. Although Cavani did his best, and Cavani is an amazing centre forward, but again, he was a bit old by the time he joined Manchester United. But Lukaku, he never had the trust, despite the fact that he was not that bad, and I've got the numbers to back that up. Now, first, let's look at how Lukaku performed in the Premier League in general, and specifically focusing on Manchester United. So, Lukaku, I have the numbers here. If you excuse me, I'll look into them now. First, his loan season at West Brom. We're starting from his loan season at West Brom, and I'm just focusing on the Premier League. I'm not counting his goals in the various cups and international tournaments and so on and so forth. So, for Everton, he started with 17 goals for West Brom. Then he joined Everton. 15 league goals, 10, then 18 and 25. So that's 17, 15, 10, 18, 25. And then he joined Manchester United. He got 16 and 12. As you can clearly see, this was par for the course for Lukaku. This was how he had been performing before. Like, this was pretty much how he did at Everton. He continued that into Manchester United. And people were just, oh, that's not good enough. Because he had this one season when he scored 25. Fine, alright. But now, Højlund and Xerxes combined have 7 league goals. That's barely more than half of what Lukaku managed in his worst Manchester United season. So, I think you much rather have Lukaku alone scoring 10 league goals even in this Manchester United team, rather than Højlund and Xerxes falling over each other. So, genuinely, this is embarrassing. Højlund and Xerxes haven't been able to outscore even Darwin Núñez. I love Darwin Núñez, but he has 5 league goals this season, in his worst ever season, and they haven't been able to outscore even Darwin Núñez. That is genuinely embarrassing. Why are these people playing for Manchester United, and why is Lukaku playing for Napoli? That just boggles the mind. How has this decision been made? How have Manchester United ended up in here? If they had kept Lukaku, and Lukaku performed the way he had performed, just let's say he performed whatever he did for the other teams, right? So, after leaving Manchester United, instantly 23 goals for Inter, 24 goals for Inter. Then came back, Chelsea, 8 goals. Again, a bit of a failed season. 10 league goals for Inter, then 13 for Roma, and now 14 for Napoli, winning the Serie A with a considerably weak team. So, a quality player let go and replaced completely inadequately. He could have still been at Manchester United, and boy oh boy, he would have contributed much, much more than whoever they've had all along. And McTominay, that just breaks my heart. I'm not a Manchester United fan, but just to see somebody, like, it's nice to see in football when people who are the academy graduates of a certain club devote their whole careers to a certain club. Like 20 years ago, there are plenty of people like that. There was Steven Gerrard, there was Scholes, there was the Giggs, there was like Totti, Del Piero, De Rossi, Puyol, Xavi, Iniesta, so on and so forth, right? Big teams very often had players who had graduated from their own academy and dedicated the basically entire career to that team. And they helped carry the team's identity throughout the years. And these players have been the backbone of the team. The only reason Roma are thought of as a big team is because Totti played for them. Because he was such a great player. This one guy basically carried the whole entire team on his shoulders for over 20 years. And Manchester United had another opportunity to have somebody like that in their team. Somebody who would understand the identity of the club and what it needs to play for this club. And they let him go. They let him go to win something else for somebody else. And same could be happening with Marcus Rashford as well. Again, Marcus Rashford is kind of weird. Because up until now, he had the kind of a trend of having a good season and a bad season, and a good season and a bad season, and alternating like that. But when the whole team is falling off, your motivation's falling off as well. So I genuinely don't fault Marcus Rashford for maybe downing tools a bit. Because who wouldn't down tools in this Manchester United team? And that's the other thing. Manchester United's predicament right now. So yeah, I think I don't want them to repeat the same mistake again. I want them to keep Rashford. But they might not keep Rashford because he doesn't gel with the new manager, Amorim. And this is what I want to talk about now. Constantly appointing the wrong man. So, who do I think could fix this Manchester United club? I think the only person who can fix this mess is Ancelotti. Because Ancelotti is the type of manager, who can galvanize a team. He's a serial winner. Oh, the camera cut off for a minute there. Ancelotti can galvanize a team. He's a serial winner. He has won everything, and he's a brilliant manager. And he has the ability to work well with the tools that he's being given. And he has the ability to basically crack the best out of pretty average players, such as like Joselu and Lucas Vazquez and others, right? This season, it seems that he has squeezed all the juice out of all these mediocre players, and there's no more left. But now he's the manager of the Brazilian national team, so he won't be coming. I would have personally advised Manchester United to appoint Ancelotti, because I think he could have steered the ship, could have steadied the club, could have brought a relatively sustained period of success, and then they could have made a shrewd appointment of somebody long term who would bring in a system with an identity and then build around that. But they haven't done it. Instead, they have appointed Amorim, who they have jumped the stage of stabilizing the club and try to get somebody who has a certain system and try to build on that. And I genuinely think Amorim is the wrong guy for that, because his system is not suited for the Premier League. In the Portuguese league, it will work. You can make all sorts of nonsense work in the Portuguese league, because basically you got Sporting, you got Porto, you got Benfica. Other than that, yeah, you got someone like Braga and others who can sometimes cause some headaches to teams, but mostly it comes down to which of the big three loses the most points to the other sides. And if you have somebody like Gyökeres in your team, you ain't losing too many points, right? So it kind of seems like it works, but it doesn't work as well. I've seen people suggesting formations with this like the 3-4-3 with Fernandes and Mainu as the two in midfield. You would that is not a midfield that can possibly work. You cannot make that work. If you basically a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 or whatever, any formation that requires three center backs is kind of a one-off in the Premier League at least, because who managed to succeed with that? Who managed to succeed? Like, who managed to win the Premier League? It was only once. It was Conte. And Conte is a specialist in this, and his 3-4-3 is extremely defensive. And in his 3-4-3, the two people in the midfield were Matic and Kante, two extremely defensive players who don't let anything get through them, right? That's why it worked. And up front, it was like Hazard, and Costa, and I think it was Pedro or William, right? So again, the creativity up front and the synergy between the three, that's nice. That can make things happen. Set pieces help a lot. Two fullbacks with a lot of energy help a lot. And yeah, that works. But in this current Manchester United team with the current personnel they have and the way they want to play it, that won't work. You cannot make a 3-4-3 work as a attacking tactic, as a ball controlling tactic. That just cannot work because people will overpower your midfield. It works in Italy. It works. Inter have done it for extended periods of time. Allegri had it for a long time at Juventus. And yeah, it works. But you need a very specific players to execute that correctly. Manchester United don't have that, and they don't have the money to overhaul the whole squad. So what I would suggest for them is this. First of all, their defense and the personnel in defense is fine. It's fine. It's not outstanding, but it is okay, right? It's okay. I would personally put a defensive partnership of Maguire and Leno as two center backs. I would put Mazraoui as the right back and Dogu as the left back because Shaw is basically broken. Then in midfield, this is what I would do. They signed Ugarte, which is, I think, is another pointless signing. Not that he's been bad necessarily, but he's been like okay, just about. But they're missing out on something. Lisandro Martinez, is not a good centre back. He is not cut out to be a Premier League centre back. He is way too fucking short to be a Premier League centre back. But he has a lot of energy. He loves a tackle and he's spicy. And he can pass the ball. What does that make him perfect for? A defensive midfielder. Just push him up into a defensive midfield role. May pair him with either Ugarte or Casemiro. Any of them will be fine. Put Fernandes in front of them and give him complete creative freedom. And on the flanks, I don't know, even in the current, you can even make this current team work way better, right? I would bring back Anthony. He seems fine. Put him on the right side. In the front three, put him on the right side. On the left, bring back Rashford. Put him on the left. And on the center forward, I guess you could go with Zirkzee or with Højlund, whatever. But somehow, some way, someone needs to get the most out of them. But, well, what I would do is I would sell a lot of players to buy some players, right? Let's start. I'm gonna start with defenders first, right? So, jeez, I would probably try to get rid of both Evans and Lindelof. None of them really need to be there. If they get like too many injuries, I guess you could shift Martinez back into the defense. They will be fine. They're not playing in Europe, so they should be able to tough it out for this one season. It looks like they're signing Cunha, so I would assume that Cunha is going to be the center forward. So let's work with having Cunha in the team, right? So if they're signing Cunha, either Højlund or Zirkzee is going to have to leave. Either one is fine. None of them have worked so far, so letting go of either one, recouping some money would be nice. I don't know. Diallo is the one who should stay, definitely. I don't know about Garnacho though. Garnacho can go either way. Sancho, they have loaned out to Chelsea, probably is leaving, so I would assume Sancho is not part of the team as well. Mason Mount, as I have mentioned, Mason Mount is another person, another player you hope to God you could ship off for like 35 mil to somebody like Crystal Palace, because goddamn he's not going to work in Manchester United ever. I would also ship off Eriksen. I don't think he's working that well, Eriksen. And I think his best days are far, far behind him. So I would also let Eriksen go. And yeah, that's it. I don't know. Maybe you could even let Luke Shaw go. I would let Luke Shaw go and just keep Dalot as a backup, either for the right back or the left back. You gotta bring it to the threadbare squad just for this one season, so you can tough it out and maybe get top 4, and then after you get that, then you can bring in some more reinforcements to get the better depth in your squad. So yeah, and maybe you could also sell Casemiro as well, but it would require a lot to replace Casemiro. You would need someone in the midfield as well. So who would I buy? First of all, Noel Cunha. We said Cunha's coming in. Cunha's a good signing. Ryan Cherky. Manchester United have been linked with him, or so I have seen. Would be a very good signing. Lyon are desperate to get rid of their players. Could come for a cut price fee. Extremely talented, extremely young, can play in a ton of different positions. Very two-footed as well, very creative. So Cherky would cover a lot of positions for you. He could deputize for Fernandes as a 10. He could go either from the left or the right. That's a great thing for him as well. So Ryan Cherky having competition from Diallo, from Rashford, from Anthony, from so on and so on. And that would be, I think that would be a very good signing for Manchester United. It looks like they're signing Cunha. I would personally recommend Osimhen instead of Cunha. I would have recommended Osimhen, because what I have seen from Osimhen is, I don't know, I have never seen a striker who is more willing to chase down a ball. Like, you just pump the ball forwards and you know he's chasing after him. People are saying there's something wrong with his attitude. On the football pitch, I have never seen anything wrong with his attitude. I've never seen a striker work as hard as Osimhen in the press, chasing down every ball, and he fucking terrorizes the defense all the time. He just gives them so much anxiety and forces them into so many mistakes. It's just unbelievable. So Osimhen would have been a good signing, but if they're signing Cunha, I don't think they're gonna go for Osimhen as well. So let's say Cunha, let's say Cherky, right? Let's see. Maybe we could figure somebody out. If Casemiro is going, maybe some reinforcements in midfield. Adam Wharton is a good sign, would be a good signing, but I think it would be too pricey for Man United at this point. And the same could be probably said for Carlos Baleba. Again, amazing player, but a bit too pricey maybe for Man United at this point. So I don't know. They need to find some options out there. If Casemiro leaves, they need a bit of strengthening in midfield. I don't know if they want to sell Anthony. Maybe they would need to get like a proper right winger. And who's out there? Who's out? I don't know really. At the top of my head, I can really think of who's out there on the right wing. But what I can definitely say is the system needs to change. He cannot go 3-4-3 like Amorim wants to play and have any chance of any success, even without the Champions League football. Maybe you know what would be funny? Conte is such an interesting character. He just won the Serie A with Napoli, but if he leaves, I don't know. They're not gonna replace Amorim right now, but I would let Amorim go and appoint Conte and let him run the 3-4-3. Because, god damn it, does this man know how to win the league if his team is not playing European football, even if it's Napoli, without all their best players. He was the one, he personally froze out Osimhen and still won the league. Fucking madman. But yeah, I mean, Ancelotti's not available. Conte is basically guaranteed success if you're not playing in Europe. So, and if you want to play with three defenders, hey. But even Conte abandoned that. Even Conte, he tried doing that at Napoli at first. But, well, he did have like Kvaratskhelia at the time, and it didn't really bring out Kvaratskelia's best qualities. But that's a different topic. So, yeah, if you're staying with Amorim, change the fucking system. Change the system, sign Cherki, dispose of the garbage, and you may get top 5. You would have, I think you'd certainly have a better chance of getting top 5 than Newcastle. You could tussle with Newcastle for the 5th spot, and since they will be in the Champions League in the next season and will have those added fixtures, you can use that to your advantage to wrestle them out of there. So yeah, try and do that. I would be trying to do that if I was anywhere near managing Manchester United. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm talking absolute bullshit here. But yeah, that is it for me at this point. I don't know what I'm going to talk about next. Probably the Club World Cup, because I think that's another bullshit tournament. And oh yeah, that reminds me, I have a suggestion for how to change a football calendar. I can tie that into the Club World Cup. So yeah, that is it for me now, and see you in the next video. Until then, so long.